Hello, I'm Garner Mayor Ronnie Williams. We're here today for another episode of the show that we call Great People in Garner. Today we're a little bit different. We typically interview an individual, but today we're interviewing a couple, Sarah and Henry Holbrook, who have donated a lot of time, effort, and support for the town of Garner. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let's get right to the questions. What brought you to Garner? What year did you? What year was that? What year did you arrive?
I arrived in Garner in 1979, and I came here as a result of a job transfer that promoted me from Charlotte to Garner, and I've been here ever since.
This is good. You got anything to add to that, young lady?
No, sir, he covered it quite well.
What were your initial impressions of Garner, and how do you think we've changed as a people, as a community, and as a town?
Initially, I thought Garner was just another small town, southern town, of course, and it was quiet, and I figured, well, it'd be a nice place to stay. I guess some of the advice of some of my friends, but
Against the advice?
of course, some of my friends said, you don't want to live in Garner.
Did they tell you why?
Well, they said it was a hickey town, and the people were prejudiced. I said, well, that's what we are here for, to get rid of the prejudice and change. They said, okay, if you want it that way. So I decided that Garner was going to be the place, and it was one of the places that had affordable housing.
We're glad you made that decision. Okay, both of you worked extensively with Meals on Wheels. Tell us about that and how long you've been working with that organization and in what capacity.
Well, Henry volunteers. I am employed with Meals on Wheels. I've been there for 7 years this month. The 30th of this month will be 7 years.
I've been with Meals on Wheels probably about 12 years. I started as a volunteer, and I'm still a volunteer. And she came, when she retired from AT&T, she became director of Meals on Wheels for Garner and became my boss.
What motivated you to get involved with Meals on Wheels, and what keeps you motivated?
I wasn't motivated initially, Mayor. I was volunteering at the YMCA teaching water aerobics, and one of the congregants came in one day and said, Sarah, we've got a job for you. And I said, I don't need a job. And she explained to me what was going on. And I came home from my class and said, somebody wants me to apply for a job at Meals on Wheels. He said, you don't need a job. So I said, well, somebody said that they wanted me to come down and at least check on it. So he gave me numbers and told me who to call. And I called the lady and told her I was going to throw my hat in the ring. I wanted to find out more about it. I met her over here. We talked, and 2 days later, she hired me. And I've been here.
The rest is history.
Yes, yes.
Okay, the Senior Center, what do you think it contributes to the life of people in this community?
Oh my goodness, the seniors, I don't know what they would do if it wasn't for the Senior Center. This is, it's like a live mechanism. Everybody, all the seniors come this way. This is where they communicate. This is where they get information on what happens next. This is where they grow, and it keeps them from staying home, and they get a meal here. So this is like the country club for the Garner seniors.
Being one of those seniors that enjoy the benefits of this center, it's a very good outlet. Exercise, yes, dancing, sports activities, trips, all of that adds to the life of the seniors. Most of the time we wouldn't have any place to go, probably get shut up behind the doors and just pass life away watching TV. But this center gives you a chance to interact with other seniors and learn more about what's going on in the world.
If I can add, sir, most people don't realize what a vast senior community we have until they come this way. And they're really surprised. The seniors who come here are really surprised that there are so many seniors in Garner. They don't know that until they come this way, and this is when they start growing in that area.
Henry didn't want to spend much time on it, but you mentioned dancing. I've heard a lot about your dancing at this building. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I got involved with line dancing here, and it's been fun.
And up. And vines. Rocking chair, right foot.
In fact, I kind of got into it seriously because one of the teachers kind of challenged me because I was the only male in an all-female class. And she said, "Henry, why are you in there? You're not really applying yourself." I said, "I'm just here to have fun." And so I said, well, if she want me to be a serious dancer, I'll just dance. And so I joined the performing team, and they decided to keep me on for a while. So I performed with the line dance team for 2 or 3 years, and then my knees started telling me it was time to slow down.
So she's had your blessings the whole time you've been involved.
Of course he does.
Henry, you grew up in the deep South Mississippi.
Way
And in college, you got involved with the civil rights movement. You want to talk about that a little bit?
yes, I was born in a little town called Sugar Like, Mississippi, right close to the Choctaw Reservation. And after I finished high school, I went to college. And when I got there, they were involved with civil rights activities and other activities that I didn't know what it was going on because I was a farm kid, out there, happy being a farmer. And then they talking about wearing old clothes for Easter and going on strikes, boycotting stores and all of this. I said, wow, what is going on here? It was completely new to me, and so I said, well, this sounds like something I should be involved in. So I went to a couple of meetings, and next thing I know, I was going house to house, canvassing people, and being chased by dogs and being chased by people, my people that didn't want me to be out there because they said, they're gonna kill you, boy. And you're going to get us in trouble, all kind of statements like that. So, of course, I worked on campus, and of course, it got back to my campus boss that one of your employees is out there causing trouble. Stirring up trouble. And he called me in and told me that I was an employee of the state because I worked on campus. And of course, he reminded me of all the ramifications of being employed by the state. I couldn't protest any activities, et cetera, et cetera. And so that shortened my open participation in the civil rights movement. But I kept being involved in other areas. But you couldn't work for the state and protest.
Openly, anyway.
Right. But there were other ways to
Get your
protest.
message.
Right. So I stayed involved until today.
And you've got a history. You worked on discrimination suits and concerns. And what has that taught you about how far we've come in terms of civil rights, and how much further do we need to go? You want to comment on how we come? That we've made progress.
We've made progress legally, and when I say legally, they passed laws that say you can't do this. They had affirmative action is still around, so the law, they comply with the law, but in man's heart is where the change has to come. If man doesn't change and decide that he wants to love his fellow man regardless of race, color, sex, or whatever, If he doesn't want to change, it's not going to change. They just find ways to redefine discrimination, redefine what they want to do in a way that it doesn't appear illegal. Now, they're not thinking about God's law and what God said about love your fellow man. See, and that's one of the things civil rights and any other law can teach people is how to love and care for each other. And until we learn to care for each other and look out for each other, it's not going to change a whole lot, but it changes outward appearance. It changes outward appearance because as long as it looks okay to the people, then I can pretend I like you, I pretend I love you. But is it really what we need? We need genuine care, sharing, and taking care of people.
So we've come a long ways, but we've got a long ways to go.
We still have a long ways to go, and being somewhat of a Bible student, it doesn't give me much hope, because I think in terms of what went on back in ancient times, man's heart hasn't changed that much.
That is core. I think
He's
you're right about that.
still a greedy, selfish, bullying, taking. I shouldn't be talking about us that way, should I?
It's reality. Now, both of you attended were part of the delegation that went to Denver for the All-America City competition. Talk about that, and what did you learn from that experience? It was a good.
It was a wonderful experience. I have to admit that I wasn't really eager to go at first, but once I got there and saw the big picture, saw the other towns and what they were doing, and I got to talk to some of the other towns and some of the members of the other towns, those who had been in before, and they were back for a second and third and fourth time. Mm-hmm. Then I saw that it was a good thing, that the experience that they'd had before just sort of, I don't know, I absorbed it. And the excitement of the moment, I guess I sort of absorbed that too. And you are an excellent cheerleader. You are an excellent cheerleader. But to talk to the people who had been before and were back again, and I did ask them some of the hard questions, and I asked them why they were back a second time. I said, aren't you always in All-America City? And the excitement of the moment, for one thing, is one reason why they came back. But another reason is they say that it encourages people to come to their town. And they said that it encourages other businesses also. They look at a town that is working in unison, and that's where people want to grow their families. So I said, well, okay, so this is what we're here for, to encourage people to move to Garner.
You sort of segued into the next question, and I think you're on topic. How do you think it's changed the way Garner's being perceived? Are there new opportunities? We've got a marketing campaign that we're going to promote our status as an All-America City, and it should be good for Garner. What are your thoughts on that?
The change is gradual, but the change is visual. You can see it. And people are more excited about the GPAC, the Garner Performing Arts Center. They didn't even know we had one, people in other places. They've told us about the Veterans Memorial. They've gone by to see the Veterans Memorial. They think it's fabulous. And there are even people who are coming from other areas, especially Johnston County, to our senior center. Things that we talked about that we didn't know would really get out there, but it's been announced so many times, it's been broadcast so many times on Facebook and all the other media, that they're coming to see what Garner's all about now. It's gradual, but it's obvious. It's very obvious.
Henry, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a good thing. We put Garner out there. Garner is
For the whole world.
visible
That's right.
for the whole world to look at us. Look at us. Now, when people look at it and say, oh, we're All-America City, what does that mean? It means the world is looking at us. Now, what are we going to show them? Mm-hmm. What we're going to show them, and I think it encourages us and pushes us to do a little bit better, do a little bit more to live up to.
And we're sort of under a spotlight, aren't we?
We are on the spotlight, and we got to live up to what we have advertised ourselves to be, and we must daily wake up and say, "Hey, we are All America City."
Put on our Sunday best.
Put on your Sunday best. Bring God into your life. Let Him lead you. Let Him lead you, and I think that is the biggest thing that happened to me, in addition to seeing all of the other people. There's a great spirit out there. Mm-hmm. It's a great spirit that people coming to put their best foot forward to show the world that, hey, we deserve to be All America City, and we are here to portray a spirit of people that believe themselves to be all Americans, standing up for America.
In a recent conversation, you mentioned me inviting you to a Friday morning Bible study that I'm a part of. Do you want to reflect on that a little bit? You had some thoughts on that.
Well, Friday morning Bible study, as you know, I'm kind of a junkie for men's Bible study, men's fellowship, and I think anytime you can be in fellowship with other men, other Christians, others that want to be Christians, it's a good thing, because people need to know the message, and men of all class, economic status, need to fellowship together, because we're all about trying to live a better life, a more effective life. And it's even more important that we break down the artificiality that has divided us. Like I say, skin color, hair differences, and all of that. We pick out little things to make us feel like we are better than somebody else. And rather, we need to just fellowship and enjoy being together with each other, lifting up each other, lifting up Jesus. So it's something we have to just put ourselves in and forget about self. We got to forget about self and put ourselves into being what the words say we should be.
Where do you see Garner 5 and 10 years from now? I mean, we like to think it's going to grow, and I think we want it to grow, but is bigger better? Y'all tell me. It's going to grow. It's going to more people. You know, but with growth sometimes comes more conveniences also.
It's going to grow. It's going to, as far as buildings, and expressways, and all of that, it's going to grow. It's going to encourage more people to move into the Garner area, because we are that natural extension southeast of Raleigh, and people, I think, are finding Garner a comfortable place to live. Mm-hmm. And we, you know how we are, we like comfort, convenience, and Garner provides that. The GPAC is saying, okay, we are expanding in the arts. Now, I think one of the great things about Garner, and I hope it never changes, is the Little League baseball. Garner has a great Little League baseball facility down here, and people want to have places for their kids to go and grow. And Garner does a good job of promoting sports programs for the youth in the city. And so Garner High School has been perennial power in the football and basketball, but mostly in football. But this year they're not off to a great start, but
A little bit different from what we're accustomed.
a little different. But all of this is about promoting the community, promoting individuals where possible. But Garner is going to grow, and it's going to, I feel, if not careful, be engulfed by Raleigh. And so that's what I see coming in the future.
I do too. The parks that we have now, the walking trails, they're just excellent. The planning that I've seen and the things that are being planned for the children, the things that are for the children now, the things that are happening at the GPAC for the children. People move in this area with children because they see that we're doing things for children. The community of hope, things for children. And that's what brings a lot of people when they see, well, you've got good schools, you've got a good community, friendly town, a very friendly town. I'd like to give you a comparison, but I won't. But in the mornings when Henry and I are together and we're going someplace, he's waving at people and people are waving at him, and he just goes down the street waving at everybody. You don't find that in other towns. So Garner is, just has turned into a very, very friendly town, very user-friendly town. And I think that's what will draw people here, and that's what will keep the growth. It will grow. Garner will grow. We need to get ready because it's going to grow.
And you mentioned Little League. It's been said it's better to see a kid steal second base than it is to see a kid steal a car. So the Little League opportunity does have an impact on what it keeps them busy. And it's organized the sports, and they learn a lot from it.
Yes, the sports activities are good. My son went through the Little League program. I don't know if he was ever very good, but I was proud of him out there. And it was good. It was a good thing. It was good for him. And one other thing, the Veterans Memorial out there.
Yes, sir.
That's very impressive because I'm a veteran, and I say when I go out there and I see that those that have gone on and those that are still here are being appreciated for what the service that they have provided and things that they have gone through. And you look back and you say, oh, even though I was kind of forced into military service, because if I didn't go into the Air Force at the time, I was headed for the Army. But you learn to appreciate what you're doing, and you find out your community and your country really do appreciate what you've done. It's good. Of course, at one time, it wasn't so good during the Vietnam era. I came back from Vietnam on an emergency leave and found people protesting against us and everybody else that was connected to Vietnam, and it was a sad time. And to see a city that has embraced us, it's good.
Back to reflect on the All-American City trip, part of the reason we were designated is because there were several challenges that confronted the town and their people, and we faced those challenges head on. What challenges do you see in the not-too-distant future that we may have to be confronted with? And maybe growing too fast might be part of it, or getting too big, I don't know. You mentioned the arts earlier, and I think we need to do more for the arts, but we are in transition, proclaiming ourselves to be arts sensitive, so we've added that. And you mentioned it. And the plays and the performances at GPAC, you keep repeating that. It has added to our devotion to the arts. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
When I spoke of GPAC and the arts and sports activities, I was speaking from a senior perspective, but when I reflect back, I think in terms of how my children have benefited from the activities in Garner, and I think that we need more, because Garner has, say, when I moved here in '79, it was just a few subdivisions, somewhat small, and I would say it has probably doubled in size in population in that 30-something years that I've been here, and it continues to grow. And I think the arts is just one thing. Sports activity is good. Entertainment is good. I think a stronger economic base will be better because as all of these children grow up, where are they going to go? We in the South, when the kids got grown, they knew that there was not enough work on the farm to keep them going, so they escaped to St. Louis, Detroit, those places, other places. And if we don't have a strong economic base here, it would be our young people will be going elsewhere, and wherever they can find employment. And that's one of the priorities nationally, I think it's locally, to continue to seek employers to come into Garner. Right now, I said, now, a major company come into Garner, where would they be? And of course, I look at all of the raising, tearing down of the facility over there where Jones Sausage Road over there. I said, okay, what are we going to get? Who it's going to occupy that area over there? But again, economic opportunity, I think, is always a challenge that Garner and the state of North Carolina need to constantly work on.
He covered it. Pretty much, we have the same view on it.
You want to talk about your children? Y'all have children? You want them to be part of this interview? You've raised them. I think they're doing well.
I have, between us, we have 6 children. 6 children.
And they're all upwardly mobile.
That's good. And that's what you want. That's what you strive for.
Yes. And I got one that won't leave home because
she's comfortable.
she's comfortable. She got a good position, and she said, I'm not going anywhere until I pay off all my bills. But I noticed she continued to make bills. so she will probably be around a while, and I have children from east to west, a son in New York, 3 daughters in California, 1 daughter in South Africa.
On her way here.
She should be here next week, or actually this week. And they all completed their college degrees.
Y'all got a lot to be proud of.
Yes, thanks to my father, who had the wisdom to see that his son is not going to be able to take care of all he created. So he left funds for scholarships and other things for his grandchildren. And I think what motivated him to do that really was about 20 years ago, or 21, 22 years ago, I had an aneurysm on the brain that the doctor said should have killed me, but the Almighty said
He had more work for you to do.
he had more work for me to do. And so I'm still here. And it's been a blessing to see my children grow up, be successful, and I just said, God is in control.
Oh, I could talk all day. I could. Our son is a playwright, and we went to, and he does short film. We went to New York last year to see a short film and a play that he'd written the same day. They picked it up and we're performing it. And so he's struggling, but he's getting there. One of our daughters, well, the daughter who lives here, is a 3-time author. She writes sci-fi. She's working on her 4th book now. and they're doing very well. It'll be published soon. The daughter that's coming here is an astrophysicist. So one daughter is a chef, and one is in medicine, the other is a teacher. So they're all, like I said, they're moving and they're making their mark. Nobody wants to really live here. The daughter who still lives here says she can't wait to get out. So we don't believe her because she's comfortable, like we said. But the things that they've learned here. And, you know, they grew up here and had experiences here, martial arts, baseball, dance classes. They got right here in Garner. So Garner is the place to raise your children. You feel safe. You don't have to worry about your children. We didn't when they were here.
Look, guys, I've enjoyed our time together, and I want to thank y'all for taking time to be with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we're going to sign off till next time.
It's a pleasure.
My pleasure.